G'day, I'm Brett, and this is part 6, the final installation of my Land Rover Defender Expedition camper build. As well as carrying a spare tyre on the rear, I've decided to take a spare tyre carcass mounted on the bonnet. I decided not to include the rim in order to reduce weight. This was mounted by simply using some marine stainless steel hardware and a 3-way strap from Moab. Due to the additional weight of the tyre on the bonnet, I've installed 2 bonnet latches. These stop the bonnet from popping open while travelling off-road. To charge my secondary battery, I installed a 130 watt solar panel, permanently mounted on my roof. This is connected to a 20 amp regulator. The solar panel mounting brackets I made incorporate 10 watt LED floodlights. These are controlled by a switch on the dash. I've fitted a dual battery voltage meter. The top shows my primary battery and the bottom shows my secondary battery. I've also made up a simple shovel mount. This utilises a pair of quick fist rubber clamps. I've installed a new steel winch bullbar from TJM. This model is much stronger than my previous bullbar and provides a much better approach angle. I've installed a 12,000 pound winch with Dyneema rope. To connect the winch, I ran some 50mm square 0 BNS battery cable to the front and then used a bus bar to connect the smaller 3 BNS cable to the winch. This allows much greater amperage and voltage to make it all the way to the front of the vehicle, thus increasing winch efficiency. Inside my Mulgo Xbox, I've fitted a battery switch in order to cut the power to my winch. This is a Blue Sea Systems 300 amp continuous unit. To protect my steering linkages, I installed an APT Fabrications steering guard. I made up a couple of mounts in order to install my hilift jack on the rear. I wasn't able to install the complete jack as it fouled on my lights, these 2 lights, and stopped my rear door from opening. And as I've installed my rear door kitchen table on the back, I want to ensure I can open the door fully. So I've put the rail on the back and moved all the moving internals and stored them on the inside. This keeps them all clean and ready to go the next time I need to jack. It only takes a couple of minutes to put the 2 pieces together and start jacking. To increase my fuel capacity, I installed a Long Range Automotive 65 litre driver's side sill tank. Rather than have a second fill point on my vehicle, I had my original Land Rover filler modified into a Y filler. This allows me to fill both tanks from the one point. The kit comes with a fuel pump to transfer fuel into the main tank. It also comes with its own fuel gauge, which I mounted on my dash. The tank protrudes only a few millimeters below the lowest point of the chassis. I've mounted a side awning as well for when it's raining or I need some shade. For some privacy, I've made a full set of curtains for inside. These are made out of a heavy duty jute and simply attached by using Velcro around the edges. For additional storage space, I've added some netting on the roof. Now I've made the back of my Defender so that I can sleep inside. I made up 2 bed platforms. This top one unbolts, slides forward, and it gives me a full space area for up to 2 people to sleep inside. To support the secondary bed platform, I simply made up 3 pieces which fit together and provide a strong support. Once the 2 side beams are in place, I simply slot on the top piece. With the rear mount in place, I simply slide forward the top piece and then fit it securely using the same bolts. This gives me plenty of area for sleeping, quite comfortably with still plenty of headroom. Both platforms are made out of 12mm marine ply and use some strong aluminium stripping around the edges in order to increase the support. It's plenty strong, as you can see, to support my own weight. I also installed a second fire extinguisher. This can be accessed from the driver's seat. In order for me to sleep in the vehicle and get some ventilation and not have mosquitoes get inside and bite me all night, I've bought a set of window socks. These are just slip-on units with really fine mesh, which would stop any midges or mosquitoes from getting in while the window's open. I fitted a pair of Mulgo side rails for added body protection. For long-range communications, I've installed an HF radio. These are capable of transmitting something like 2,500 kilometers, so that if I need help, I can always get it. I've mounted the very large antenna on the rear. This will protect it from any impacts. I also installed a Sensatyre tyre pressure and temperature monitor. This alerts me if my tyre pressures or temperatures go outside the set range. On the rear door, I installed a fold-down table to use as my kitchen. This includes 2 pouches to store my utensils, and my camp stove is nearby. I upgraded my suspension with a pair of Land Rover heavy-duty front springs and a set of Koni Raid 90 shocks. Some rear dislocation cones were also added. Due to my gearbox and transfer case going bang, I was forced to replace them with a pair of Ashcroft Transmissions reconditioned units. My new transfer case includes 2 modifications to increase reliability. The first is a steel bush which supports the head of the intermediate pin. In the long term, this will reduce oil leaks and transfer case whine. The second is a heavy-duty crosspin in the center diff, which increases strength. I'm installing a Detroit Truetrac limited slip differential in the rear axle. I chose this unit as it is a simple design using gears, not clutch packs. It has no electrics or air lines and doesn't need special diff oils. The unit requires no maintenance. If one of the wheels begins to spin, it will transfer up to 3.5 times more torque to the wheel with greater traction, thus helping to maintain forward motion. Compare that to the standard open diff, where if one wheel begins to spin, all power is transferred to the spinning wheel and the vehicle can stop. And to complete my Expedition Defender, my website address, so people can follow my progress along the way. Thank you for following me over the last 3 years during my Defender Expedition camper build. Please follow me on my website, roamingtheoutback.com, while I travel around Australia over 12 months. Also, please subscribe on YouTube, like my Facebook page, and join my mailing list. Thanks.